Hi, I'm Debbie with Filmmaker in a Box, and welcome to FIB Online. What you're about to see is an excerpt from Filmmaker in a Box's first intensive case study on the micro-budget feature film 2 Million Stupid Women. Now, don't be frightened by the title. It was actually written by a very smart woman named Amy Heidish and is a very funny and fun film. Some of the points discussed in this excerpt refer specifically to the making of 2 Million Stupid Women, but many of the points are non-specific enough to apply to nearly any production. If you'd like to know more about this intensive case study, and there are over 17 hours more of detailed behind-the-scenes information on all phases of development, production, and post, visit filmmakerinabox.com.
Music was a huge issue, and it always is. Getting music licenses and music rights is extraordinarily expensive, extraordinarily expensive. As a matter of fact, there are television shows that are not out on DVD now because they don't have the rights to the music and they can't afford the rights to the music for the DVD. It's prohibitive, it's frustrating, it's an extraordinarily aggressive, antagonistic process to license music. And I had been through it previously as a producer and had been just kind of burned by it. I had a short film that the entire budget of the short film was $3,000 that I did. And I wanted to put a song on the end of the short film that was coming out on a DVD. And they wanted $75,000 for the right to the song. And I tried to explain to them that's 25 times the entire budget of this. And they don't care. It's a very formulaic approach, and especially when you're dealing with big companies that are on big labels, they want their money. And people don't really negotiate. And unfortunately, in the way that music rights work, you can't just go to an artist and say, hey, can I have your permission? Because the rights are divided into segments. And basically there is the right and the copyright to the original composition that the artist comes up with, and that's the words and the lyrics. And then there are the rights to the physical recording, and that is unique to every recording. If the Police record Roxanne at one studio at one date, and then they play it live, and that's recorded, and then they re-record it for another album in another studio, those are three different rights holders. There are three different versions of the song, so it's three different licensing rights. And those licenses are typically held by the label that releases that music. The artist might hold the right to the song itself sometimes, but they don't hold the rights to the actual recording. So even if you got, an artist who says, oh yeah, I love what you guys are doing, go ahead and use my song, chances are you're not going to be able to use it. It's cheaper to have another artist re-record it or to use a non-studio recorded version of it that artist might have than it is to use the actual recording that's out, commercially on a CD.
A lot of the bands we approached, they either wouldn't do a deal with us because they were either already signed or just got signed, or they were looking for more money than we had. At the time, we really weren't offering any money, especially when we were first approaching any of the artists for the soundtrack.
And the contract is fairly simple and fairly succinct in saying that we're not paying you any money for this. It's strictly for the consideration of promotion, and it's a gratis license in perpetuity in any medium. And there were artists that were willing to do that.
There were a lot of trials trying to coordinate all these different musicians and artists to get their music, permission to use their music, and rightfully so. They're very talented, and they're all, I'm sure, going to have incredible careers down the road. But right now, it's, we all sort of need each other, hopefully.
Sometimes it took some poking and prodding to get them to sign the contract and get it to send back. And sometimes the contracts got kicked up to management, and the management came back and wanted to negotiate things. But, we were very steadfast that this has to be a gratis deal. And in a couple of situations, we wound up negotiating for a song that Jamie really, really, really wanted. And the management really, really, really wanted some consideration for. We wound up working out a step deal, which was basically that if the film achieves distribution at a certain threshold, then we will pay X dollars. And if distribution increases to a certain threshold, then we will pay X dollars. You know, if there are 50,000 DVDs released, then we will pay the artists $1,000. You know, that basically was the kind of negotiation that we got in a couple of the instances where we worked out a step deal.
It's always difficult because everyone wants to be paid for their time and for their music. But there are some artists that are glad just to get their stuff out there. So if you're willing to put in a lot of time and do a lot of MySpace searches, I think it's a good payoff.
For over 17 hours of additional videos and documents on all phases of the making of 2 Million Stupid Women, visit filmmakerinabox.com. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to FIB Online for more great videos.